Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're in the garage with our 2019 Toyota Tacoma, and we've got some amazing Facebook Marketplace finds to share with you. We've had this Tacoma for just over a year now, and I've been on the hunt for a used camper shell the entire time. I was about to bite the bullet on a brand new one, but then I stumbled upon exactly what I wanted on Facebook. It's an A.R.E. shell complete with sliding windows and screens, a sliding front glass window, carpet-lined interior, built-in lighting, and even electronic locks that are tied into the factory key fob. But that's not all. Right after I found the camper shell, I came across a decked drawer system, barely 6 months old, from a guy who had just totaled his third-gen short bed Tacoma. It was the perfect setup and we had to grab it. Now, before we dive into installing the camper shell and drawer system, I want to quickly go over some future plans for this Tacoma. Along with today's upgrades, we've also got a new suspension system on the way to replace the current spacer lift. We really like the current stance and ride height, so we're going to take some baseline measurements before adding any extra weight to the bed or changing up the suspension. All right, let's get to it. There are lots of different ways to measure ride height. I'm just going to measure through the center of the wheel to the top of the wheel well. So we're virtually even side to side on the front. That's pretty much unheard of in a Toyota, but we'll go into that in more detail in a future video when we're doing the suspension upgrades. This is the new decked system specific to the Toyota Tacoma short bed. The old model had two separate drawers, a narrow drawer on the left and a wider drawer on the right. The new version just replaces that with one wide drawer. Even though we purchased this used, it still came with all the parts and pieces that were with the original kit when it was purchased new. Came with these heavy-duty, watertight storage containers. Came with the instructions. This is just a regular tub with a snap-on lid. This one is like this, but I like it because it has a kind of like a suitcase handle that you can carry it by. And these panels pop out, and these storage bins fit in here like this. Here are all the parts and pieces. I did go through and make sure that everything is here before we start our install. Before we slide these drawers in, I want to sweep out the bed. It doesn't have to be super clean, but just want to get the loose dirt and things out. There it goes. Clearly this isn't a how-to video. This deck system was already assembled by the prior owner. It's super easy just to slide it in. Deck said that was one of their objectives of making the new version with the single drawer, was to make it easier to remove and install once you made the initial installation. Our next step in the installation is to remove the front tie downs and replace them with these brackets that are provided with the decked drawer system. Part of the installation is removing these factory tie downs and replacing them with these brackets from decked. So I didn't tighten up that side. I want to get all of the screws started on this side before I start tightening anything down. I'm gonna tighten these bed bolts down. All right, well, I got ahead of myself. These metal bars actually have to insert in some slots here. I could have done it before we slid it in, but I didn't. I certainly needed to do it before I bolted the front of this down. So I'm going to remove that last bolt that I inserted and lift this up at an angle so I could slide these support bars in. We're just gonna slide it out, see how many of these we can fit in. There are 3 on each side. Probably gonna have to lift it up to get that last one in the front. They just slide into these slots right there. There's one on this side. The next step will be to install these turnbuckles. My Total Chaos bed stiffeners are not in yet, so I'm just going to use these factory installed D-rings. Once the bed stiffeners come in, this will be removed and this turnbuckle will tie to the bed stiffener. So there's a little hole in this mounting bracket right here. Hook one in through there, one in through the D-ring, and then tighten it down. Might want to make sure it's centered up, just judging by these ribs here. I don't think these have to be super tight, but just remember one of them is reverse threaded. So we're getting ready to install these wings to cover up the gap between the drawer and the side of the bed. I don't know if these are factory bed lights or if these were installed by the prior owner, but they are hitting on the corner of our wing right here, so I'm going to have to trim that just a little bit to get it to fit. I have the jigsaw out, and I'm just going to try to take about a 1/2 inch off right on this corner right here. I don't think it's going to take a whole lot. Slide this one in place. We'll come back and bolt these down in just a minute. We're down to our final steps. We have 10 3/8 head bolts, 5 that go down each side to attach these wings to the drawer. And then we have 4 tie downs that need to get screwed in, and 2 retainer bolts, and then we're done. DECT encourages you not to use power tools, but they acknowledge that more than likely you're going to. So they just give instructions to make sure that you dial back the clutch if you are using power tools. Make sure that they're electric, not pneumatic, and just be careful, especially these that are threading into the high density polyethylene. If it's screwing into metal, you're probably okay using the power tools, but make sure you don't strip these out. As we're trying to screw these wings down, I realized that I got a little ahead of myself by installing the turnbuckles. The screws were not all in place on the drawer system, and when I tightened those turnbuckles down, it spread the braces apart just enough that I can't get some of the screws in for the wings. So I'm going to loosen up the turnbuckles, bolt down the wings, and then snug the turnbuckles down. So because of the rust, I'm going to use my favorite substance that I love to hate, anti-seize. So I've got my paper towel out here. Hopefully we can get this done without a huge mess. There's a little spacer. I think this is probably the source of the rust. We're going to put this spacer inside the hole, and then the tie down goes over that. The bolts here in the middle are just a bolt with the washer, but we're going to go ahead and get a little anti-seize on these. Not as much as the others, because these, for some reason, these aren't rusting, which makes me believe that it's probably that collar. Now that we have the decked drawer system installed, we're going to prepare to put the cap on. To do that, we're going to put these mounting brackets into the rails on the side of our bed. It'll be easier to do that with the cap off. We could pick it up and set the cap on there now and then put these in it later, but it's easier to get this done with the cap off. We're going to put ours with the hole set to the top, towards the top side of the bracket. Without this anti-seize, you can really feel the grittiness and the friction of the steel bolt going through the aluminum. We'll get some anti-seize on there and it'll really make it much easier to thread in and out. All right, that's a wrap for today's garage session. We're really excited about how the camper shell and decked drawer system came together. It's a real game changer for our Tacoma build, and we can't wait to put it to use. We didn't get to the wiring of the camper shell, interior lights, electronic lock, or brake light, but we'll get to that soon. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more overlanding content. We've got some big upgrades coming soon, including that new suspension system we talked about, so stay tuned. Also, if you have any questions about the install or want to share your own Tacoma setup, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next adventure with Freebird Overlanding.